Okay, so let's finish our workshop by this very short, I try to make it a bit quick and short, presentation to summarize all what we have spoken about in this workshop. So first of all, I'm going to again come back to the 8 multiple intelligences and then what they mean, okay, the characteristics of each kind of multiple intelligence and the people who have those multiple and what they try, what they like to do. And then move into the activities that are basically found in the textbook where I'm going to refer you now. This is one of the main textbooks that I came across. It's published by Bookland. And this book, as I'm going to show you via snapshots from this book, it includes all activities, most of activities that reflect those 8 multiple intelligences. Okay, and I'm going to show you those extracts from this book, as I did. It's called Let's Speak English. Okay, it's normally published by International Language Teaching Services and then published now by Bookland, who got the authorization to publish the books. It has got a student book and workbook and CD and all the things you need. Now let me move on to summarize again the multiple intelligences. So you can see there we have the bodily kinesthetic, sometimes referred to people who have this kind of intelligence are referred to as body smart people, body smart kids. Interpersonal, people smart. They are people smart, they are smart about dealing with people. And then you have verbal linguistic intelligence. People who have this kind of intelligence are referred to as word smart people. Then you have the logic mathematical, it's logic smart. Natural, nature smart, they are smart about dealing with nature and living in nature. Self smart, and this is the intrapersonal, people who live in their world, as I told you. And then you have the visual spatial intelligence, referred to as picture smart, people who are picture smart. And finally you have the musical intelligence, people who have this kind of intelligence are referred to also in the literature as people who are music smart. So as you can guess, our kids, because this is it's a human being. Human being is like this. Human being has all these intelligences, included our kids, okay, our children, our young learners. But as you can see, we are shifting from this traditional notion of talking about intelligence as Albert Einstein. Yes, people dealing with mathematics, with logic, etc. This is the only intelligence. No, human beings and kids have different types of skills, and these different types of skills are also called, referred to as intelligences. Okay, so and what is the difference here? Is that some kids, some people excel, as I told you, more in bodily kinesthetic, while they don't in linguistic or logical or whatever, and vice versa. You can have people who excel in linguistic, but they don't in terms of bodily kinesthetic or whatever other skill, right? This is a kind of summary that summarizes the characteristics of and that's what we have seen in the workshop, okay, and the activities that we have done. They already tried those worksheets, those activities. We tried to elicit, okay, these characteristics related to these kinds of intelligences. So, people who have the predominance in linguistic intelligence, they tend to have a preference. They are very good at reading, writing, and stories, right? And they like to learn best. These people who have this kind of intelligence predominating, they like to learn best by saying, by hearing, seeing words, okay? And we're going to go back to activities you have in this textbook. It's comprehension, you know, you have text, and then you have questions about the texts, and the students have to answer those questions. So it's all about this. It's saying, hearing, and seeing words. And then the kinds of activities, these are some sample, okay, kinds of activities, memory games, trivia quizzes, stories. I'm going to go quickly about this, okay, and I'm going to share with you the link, so you already have it in here, This is the link where I'm going to upload this workshop, this presentation. I'm recording it right now, so you can have it later for more elaboration and more, okay, because I'm going to tend to speak quickly about this. Then you have logical, mathematical. You can take the blog, you can take it later on. I'll give you enough time to write the name, the title, right? Logical, mathematical. So people who have this kind of intelligence refers to solving puzzles, exploring patterns, reasoning and logic. And people who have predominance in this kind of intelligence, they prefer best to learn by asking questions, categorizing and working with patterns, and the kinds of activities that can be used for this kind of intelligence, puzzles, problem solving. Visual spatial, it's related to drawing, building, art and craft. That's why we gave the example of Picasso, if you remember. And then people who excel in this, they prefer to learn best by visualizing, using the mind's eye. Okay? And the kinds of activities for teaching kids that are existing in the book I have referred to, and which I'm going to show you snapshots from, are flashcards, colors, pictures, drawing, project work. Musical intelligence, it's singing, listening to music, and playing instruments. And people who excel in this, they prefer using rhythm with music on. And examples of activities are using songs, chants, and drilling. Bodily kinesthetic, moving around, touching things, and body language. They prefer best to learn by moving, touching, and doing. Moving, and it's not only moving, it's also just touching, sitting, but touching and doing things, rather than just speaking. Examples of activities that can be used for this kind of intelligence are TPR activities, like sit down, move, move back. TPR, total physical response activities. Total physical, so just they have orders and then the students have to, act. Action songs, there are some songs where we can have action as well. Running dictations, some of you mentioned dictations. Dictation is part of it as well. Miming and Aurelia. Interpersonal, it is mixing with others, leading groups, understanding others, and mediating. It's all about others, okay? And here they prefer best to learn by cooperating. They are working in groups and sharing. Examples of activities, it's mingle activities, group work, debates, discussions. Intrapersonal, it's working alone and pursuing own interests. It's working alone, again, they prefer to learn more by working alone. And activities included in here, not very much, since we're alone, okay? So it's working individually in personalized projects. And finally, we have the naturalistic, which is about nature, working outside and observing nature, and its environmental projects. Now, why multiple intelligence theory is very important for adopting it in our teaching of English for kids especially. Because teachers need to use different methods and activities to meet the learning strengths, preferences, and needs not only of those who excel in the reading and the writing. That's what I told you. Because what happens is usually that teachers focus more on activities related to linguistic, verbal, grammar, etc., linguistic intelligence, and tend to ignore other activities related to nature, music, games, etc., etc. So what happens is that, what should happen normally is that they need to meet the learning strengths and preferences and needs not only of those who excel in reading and writing, linguistic, but in order to meet those of all students. There are others who excel in bodily kinesthetics, so we have to meet that need. Okay? There are others who excel in music, so we have to approach them and to teach them English via activities dealing with this kind of intelligence. So we have to meet the strengths and preferences and needs of all our kids and students and learners in general. And using different techniques and activities on the basis of MI, multiple intelligence theory allows our learners to better understand our learners and their strengths. If we do these activities relying on MI theory, we understand our learners better, their strengths better. Okay? Meet our learners' needs. We meet our learners' needs. We don't meet our needs as teachers. Because we want to teach them English, we want them to learn. So if you want them to learn, you have to meet their needs. So here, yes, what they like most. By using real-world activities to stimulate more learning. If you meet their needs, you are going to stimulate more learning. If you don't meet their needs, they will feel bored. Okay, they will fall behind, etc. Enhances their ability to learn and interact with English lessons. So when you meet their needs, you meet their different types of multiple intelligences, what happens is that they become more interactive and they interact more. They are motivated and they interact more with our English lessons. They become more comfortable in classes and at schools because you meet their needs, because you meet what they excel in. So when you do that, they are more comfortable in classes and they are happy when they are in your class, right? Understand and manage their own learning to show what they learn. So when they are happy, when they progress, so they can go on. They progress and progress and progress. But if they don't, so there is no learning taking place. Find meaning in their learning. They have meaning in their learning. I'm here, I feel something is going on in me, I like it, and I'm going on, I'm progressing. So it keeps going on like that, okay? Bring joy and self-esteem in our learners. You meet their needs, right? This one is good at music, so you meet his need or her need. This one is good at bodily kinesthetic intelligence. You meet his or her need. This one is good at linguistic. And you meet the different needs of our learners, our kids. What happens is that you bring joy and self-esteem in our learners, which is very important for learning to take place. Get and feel a sense and satisfaction of achievement and progress. When there is always, the students are satisfied. There is some satisfaction going on. There is some progress, some achievement. They feel they are realizing. Okay, they are not bored. They are not just coming because their parents asked them to come. Right? So that's very important. Build esteem, self-esteem in our learners. Now, let me focus on each kind of intelligence and the kind of activities that we can have for this intelligence. So, for example, students or learners kids who excel in spatial intelligence, who are picture smart, the activities we can have is that visuals, colors, photographs, flashcards, drawing, mind maps, graphic stories. Graphic stories? Graphic stories means stories where you have like cartoons and they are speaking, you have graphic stories. Picture-based exercises, graphic organizers like concentric circles. You have circles where you try to summarize like those concentric, for Gardner, concentric circles. And then word web, you have like a word and then surrounded by different words belonging to the same family, having the same meaning, something in common, so like a word web, like the web. Okay, now, example, I'm taking the snapshots from the book I'm referring to. This is an example which illustrates the use of this kind of multiple of intelligence referred to as spatial intelligence. People or students or kids who are picture smart. So you can see that the book contains a lot of pictures, visuals, colors, right, included in the book. Okay, it's not very big, but that's the best I could do about my photograph, okay? So, another example, drawing. We mentioned drawing, okay? It's part of this intelligence that is referred to as spatial intelligence. It's drawing. So you see these activities, listen, draw, and color. Taken from the book as well. Drawing again, draw a picture of your family. So, drawing, it's part of people or learners who excel in this kind of intelligence family, they will find themselves in these kinds of activities, right? And then you have draw a puppet. Another example of activity based on this intelligence, spatial intelligence, for kids who are picture smart. Again, colors, different pictures, visuals, photographs. I told you word webs. Word webs, this is an example of word webs. Because like the web, that's why it's referred to as word web. Okay, you know the web because it takes you from here to here and it's all interrelated. You call it the shabak al-ankabuti, you know? So here you have word web. So you have animals and then you have the other words belonging to the same domain, to the same field. Okay, so you have butterfly and then you can go on here and here. You have fruits, you have sports. So this is an example. Concentric circles. This is an example. So we have the months of the year, and then you have picture here. So like summarizing the months of the year, the seasons, right? So it's all referring to this spatial intelligence. Good? So if you take the books, you're going to have this much better than the pictures I got for you. But maybe you're not, because you are grown up, so you don't need a lot of this. Now, the word smart learners. The word smart learners, they prefer activities that have like reading and comprehension exercises. Reading and comprehension exercises, texts, and then they have multiple choice or true or false. Gap-filled exercises. It's all about, not anymore more about pictures, it's more about language. Gap-filled exercise. Book-based grammar, like charts, you know, summarizing tenses, or okay. Language function explanations and exercises. Vocabulary and sentence construction exercise, debates and discussions. Examples, snapshots of activities that use this kind of intelligence. Word smart learners. So here you see you have text here, okay, and this you can see that's. One of the things I also like about the books is that it's up to date in terms of content. It's using emails, etc. And our kids, they are getting into that, okay? They are getting into this world where they are already initiated to emails, you know about emails from their parents, of course, etc. So it includes these topics and areas of interest that we are living nowadays. So we have this, and then you have the questions here. You see the questions. And then questions here. Read and circle the correct answer. So you have read and circle the correct answer. Another example, fill in the blanks or exercise. So you have to fill the blanks. So you have picture here. It's a combination of the two. You see what is good about the book? Using the multiple intelligence. It's a mixture of the two. It's the pictures, the visuals, the photographs to meet the needs of improving language, English here, for kids. So they have to fill in the blanks here. Look at the pictures and answer the questions. It's another activity. So you have a mixture of the two intelligences here, linguistic and spatial. Here it's more about linguistic, you can see. It's a text, read and complete, carries, diary. Okay? And then it etc. And we're going to come back to this picture here, this kind of activities here, because we can also have in it something related to intrapersonal. When you talk about a diary as an activity, it's something more intrapersonal, okay? And here it starts with something like interpersonal, and it moves into something intrapersonal. Write a description of your aquarium here is an example. So you are moving into intrapersonal for somebody who prefers his own or her own word. Now, logic smart learners. So these activities are good examples applying this kind of intelligence. So we have puzzles, logic reasoning questions, multiple choice questions, editing and error recognition exercises, vocabulary and grammar charts, word webs, Venn diagrams, reading selections based on number logic work. Now, examples from the book as well. So you see here activities, some activities that talk about numbers and logic. It's all about numbers and logic. Another example here, I'm talking about this one here. It's a kind of game puzzle. Okay, game puzzle. This one again here, it's a game, but still a puzzle. Body smart learners. Role plays, they like role plays, grammar games, drama, action activities, reading selection based on sports, reading text, that you say small text of course, that talk about sport, adventure, and the outdoor. TPR activities, total physical response activities, miming, somebody talked about miming earlier. Now, examples, so you see here, listen and do. Okay, kinesthetic, bodily kinesthetic. So you have to listen, and it's also total physical response activity. Let's play. It's the same thing again. It's a mixture of all intelligences, but it's more triggered off by something related to body and movement and total physical response. Music smart learners, they prefer activities related to poems, identifying rhythm and rhyme, like tongue twisters, etc., or rhyme, listening to songs and music, composing tunes and lyrics, music activities, drilling. Examples of snapshots, here's an example. What have you got? So it's a song, listen and sing. Okay, it's listen and sing. So it's singing activity. Then you have music, again another sing. The books, by the way, they are full of singing. Okay, a lot of activities related to singing. Okay, it's very interesting in this regard. Nature smart learners, activities that involve exploration of the natural world, reading selections about the outdoors, animal and plant life. Examples of snapshots. So you have here an example of activities related to animals and plant life in general. Nature, another example. Okay, it's all about the world, the nature, the seasons. People smart learners, they prefer group tasks, team competitions, role plays, and peer teaching and sharing. Examples of activities from the books you have here. Okay, look at the animals above, then ask and answer with your partner. So group work. Most of the activities in general in here, you can do them in group work. Some can be only individual, but most of them can be done in group work or pair work. Okay? Self-smart learners, people who like their work, writing in logs and diaries, they prefer logs and diaries. Finding deeper meaning in stories and poems, understanding, expressing moral values and ethics, sharing personal life experiences. Examples here. Okay. It's the same. Okay, so no, I was back. For example, yeah, this for smell. You remember the diaries when I talked about? I told you that I'm going to come back to this. So here, for example, after talking about diaries, etc., then you move on to people who are more intrapersonal. So you ask them this activity, like talking about diary about themselves. Okay, that's it. I'm going to show you flashcards for coming back to the. In addition to the textbooks here, the textbooks they contain audio CD, right? Which because there are some activities where the students have to listen, okay? So I'm going to play some snapshots from the audio CD as well, songs especially. And these are examples of flashcards that rely on the intelligence or spatial intelligence for picture smart learners. So you see here, this picture is all about visuals, okay? Okay. And there are so many of this. Let me now move to play for you just an example of a song. I hope I'm going to get one. I think it's...
Students' book, Starter Unit, Exercise 3. Listen and sing. Hello, how are you? Hello, 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 how are you? I'm fine, I hope that you are too. Hello, 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 how are you? I'm fine, I hope that you are too.
Okay, so this is an example, just one example, and the CD, as you're going to see, it includes rods. Okay. So that's it, and thank you very much for your attention.